So, as we all know, Anthony Joshua has lost three times now in his professional career. And losses can very often psychologically scar a fighter to one degree or another, particularly when you suffer a loss as humiliating as Anthony Joshua's loss to Andy Ruiz in their first fight. That was supposed to be an Anthony Joshua showcase on his American debut, but it turned out to be a nightmare for Anthony Joshua. He was totally humiliated, beaten from pillar to post by what Tyson Fury describes as a little fat fella. And I could certainly see in subsequent fights that he was still battling with the demons from that night in New York. In the Ruiz rematch against Kubrat Pulev, even in the first Alexander Usyk fight, and to the second one to a lesser extent. But many people believe that Anthony Joshua's confidence, or let's say lack thereof, and it's all relative, right? He's certainly more confident than the average man on the street. But relative to the other top heavyweights like Usyk and Fury, he's not as confident as those guys at this point. And many people believe that his confidence took a dive in the Vladimir Klitschko fight because he went life and death with the guy, and so many people, so many casual fans at least, felt it was going to be a walk in the park for Anthony Joshua. They'd seen him knock out all these guys on the way up. They'd seen him knock out Charles Martin and Dominic Breazeale, and they thought Vladimir Klitschko was in for the same treatment. I remember talking to a friend at the time, and I was telling him that I thought, he asked me what I thought about the fight, and I said, that's a very tough, difficult fight for Anthony Joshua. I'm not even sure he's ready for this level yet. And my friend said, you must be mad. No way. AJ's going to demolish him. It's going to be easy. I can't see anyone out there challenging him. This is what the guy was saying. And then, of course, after the fight, he was totally baffled and bewildered at what had happened and why Anthony Joshua had gone life and death, because he had a perception in his mind about him that was very different from the reality. So, yeah, many people, and I'm sure many of you, believe that Anthony Joshua's confidence issues started in the Klitschko fight. Well, I want to throw another possibility out there, or another idea out there. It's just an idea. I'm not saying this is true. So don't start getting upset or anything like that just because I'm presenting a possibility. I'm not making any accusations, right? One person, however, who did make an accusation about Anthony Joshua, and this is a nice segue into what I'm going to talk about, is Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, a few years ago, repeatedly accused Anthony Joshua of having a TUE, which is a therapeutic usage exemption for testosterone. Right? They call it TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Now, I don't know whether this accusation from Dillian Whyte has any merit to it. I don't know whether that's true. So let me just lay that out on the table right away, because I don't want any legal smoke from 258 or, lawyers at 258 or whatever. I don't know whether what Dillian Whyte's saying is true, but he said it publicly, all right? So I can comment on it. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's imagine that what Dillian Whyte said was true. And hypothetically speaking, AJ was on testosterone replacement therapy. Now, testosterone isn't just a hormone which improves, if you increase the levels of it, athletic performance. It also changes your mindset, or it can change your mindset and your mood. It can give you a greater sense of well-being. Now, if you put someone on TRT and, their confidence goes up and all this kind of thing, what then happens if you take that person off TRT, or you greatly reduce the amount of testosterone you're giving them? Does it stand to reason that their confidence might be affected as well? So again, hypothetical scenario. What if, hypothetically, Anthony Joshua, maybe because of scrutiny from the media or scrutiny from the public or scrutiny from his fellow fighters, people like Dillian Whyte, what if that caused the British board or whoever, right, hypothetically, to say, you know what, we're not going to be able to allow you to have this exemption anymore, or you're going to have to reduce the amount that you're taking? Could that be a contributory factor, for Anthony Joshua's confidence declining and decreasing over the years? Is that why he seems lost these days? Or is it, again, a contributing factor as to why he just seems lost and without a sense of direction. Now, I'm just going to give you a little insight into my training regime. Yeah, I'm still training. I like to keep myself in some kind of shape. I've always been a sprinter. I've got a body type which responds far better to sprinting than to long distance running and, long drawn out cardio endurance type training. Explosive training works much better for me. I lose weight much quicker, and my testosterone when I do sprint training goes through the roof, even at my age, right? I'm in my 40s. Goes through the roof. And when it goes through the roof, well, certain things happen. The missus doesn't get left alone. And as well as that, I feel more, I've always been a confident person, but I feel more confidence. My confidence is elevated. I feel more assertive. I feel more driven. I feel more focused when I'm doing all this sprint training because of the jump in testosterone, right? So again, I'm just floating out there as an idea. Is AJ on what? let me pull up, rewind before trying to keep myself in the clear here. If AJ was on something before, let's just say TRT, because he's been accused of being on many things, but I don't want to go there because I don't want the 258 management, funny business. And he's never failed a test as far as we know. All we know is that Dillian Whyte accused him. And as far as I'm aware, Anthony Joshua has never satisfactorily denied this accusation from Dillian Whyte that he's got this, he's got this usage, therapeutic usage exemption, the TUE. I've never heard him satisfactorily deny that, right? So again, hypothetically, if it was true and he was on that back in the days and he's not on it now, could that be a contributing factor for why his confidence has declined? Something to think about. And I repeated myself kind of at the end there, but I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, particularly those of you who have knowledge of TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. Now, I certainly know, as men, we all have testosterone in our bodies. We can all increase in our testosterone, by doing certain types of exercise or whatever the case may be. We can all do that. So we can all do our own personal experiment to see how an increase in testosterone affects our mood and all that kind of thing. But specifically with TRT, I'm interested to know if any of you have done TRT and how that affected your mood. And when you came off it, presuming you ever came off it, if that affected your mood as well. If that made you feel less confident, less driven, less focused, less sure of what to do, etc., etc. Let me know in the comment section below. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.